Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Todd. Happy birthday to you. Woo! David Rothbard and Chelsea, stand up. These two young, incredibly beautiful people are engaged. Congratulations.
Okay, guys, in the interest of brevity, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the answers to each of these questions. There may be a little story that goes along with some of them, which I'll tell you. And then I need you to self-grade, and then we're going to test to see who's got the highest grade. So the answer to number one, the first car was a 1964 Plymouth Belvedere. That's B. Baby blue, if any of you remember that. It was my mother's car originally, and it had push-button drive. The answer to number two, first date destinations, pick two. The answer is B, the high school play, and C, Howard Johnson's. Let me steal the key from you, Kev. And that was when I was a senior in high school, and I'll give you the name of the person I went with in a little bit. The answer to number three, Todd bought his first Mercedes in A, 1977. First year that I played the Easter Bunny at the Hilton Hawaiian Village was 1983. I've now done it for 36 consecutive years with 1 year off when Alexander was being born, and Diane Caswell filled in for me. Who was Todd's first date? The answer to that, and that's who I went to the high school play with and to Howard Johnson's afterwards, was C, Nancy Davenport. Now the interesting thing about that is that Nancy was, I had a very good friend, still have a very good friend named Don Muntz. And Don had a real crush on Nancy. So I met Don with Nancy at the Howard Johnson's, and they started dating for years afterwards. And I was actually happy about it. The next answer, C. Todd was suspended from school for B, blowing cigar smoke in the vice principal's face. Chester Bright. Very good, Kim. They frowned on those types of things back then. Number 7, how many days did it take Todd to walk from Denver to Steamboat? 3 days. B is the answer. Where was Todd's first destination as a stowaway? E, San Francisco. The biggest jackpot Todd ever won was D, $20,000 on a nickel 100 play machine at Bally's on New Year's Eve. Number 10, Todd's favorite bakery of all time, the Tavern Pantry in Newark, New Jersey. That is D. Margie's would be close second. But Tavern Pantry was up until I was about 5 years old, so it was a little before your time. Interesting story, the Tavern Restaurant was a famous restaurant in Newark, New Jersey, and the son of the owner went down in the salad oil scandal back in the 60s, and they lost the restaurant. It was a very famous place. The city where there is still, oh no, wait a minute, Todd's favorite Chinese restaurant of all time, A, the China House of Union. Not Ming's, which I'm sure a lot of you guessed, and not Tao Tao's, which I'm sure a lot of you guessed. But the China House of Union, New Jersey, which is a wonderful place. Whenever I would fly home to New Jersey, I would stop there. One day, in the middle of the night, they disappeared, and no one ever heard from them since, which was highly unfortunate. 12, the city where there's still an outstanding warrant for Todd's arrest, Madison, Wisconsin. The story on that was that I had gotten a number of parking tickets in Madison. And there was no place to park where I lived my sophomore year. So one day I looked at my rearview mirror and I saw this meter maid behind me. I ducked into the parking lot, stuck a tarp over my car, and 4 police cars converged on the place. Fortunately, they never caught me. I snuck the car out of Madison. Years later, I was in Madison on homecoming week, and I was talking to one of the police officers, and I was saying, has anybody ever gotten away with a lot of parking tickets? And she goes, well, we always catch them. They come back years later, and we get them, and they find themselves in jail. And I said, has anyone ever gotten away with a lot? Well, there was this one guy from New Jersey, but we're going to get him. Now, the interesting anecdotal part of that was the car was registered to my father's company, which was National Color Labs. And we'd get letters in the mail addressed to a Mr. Nat Kohler Lab saying, Dear Mr. Lab, a warrant has been issued for your arrest in the state of Wisconsin. So technically, the warrant isn't for me, it's for Mr. Lab, and I wish them luck fighting him. Longest time Todd spent in jail was 2.5 hours. Also related to parking tickets in Madison, Wisconsin. I was arrested for not observing an alternate side parking violation. I had no idea what an alternate side parking violation was, but they had some screwy rule that on alternate days of the week, you had to park on alternate sides of the street. And I guess about 220 times I ignored it. So they brought me, they came with a warrant for me and asked me to pay the fine. I said no, and they said, if you don't pay the fine, we're going to have to take you to jail. So they did. And they took me to the Madison jail. 2.5 hours later, I went before the magistrate. The district attorney, when I tried to persuade him, I had no idea what this was, says, alternate side parking, everybody knows what that is. There's a sign in the outskirts of town, and it's in the Wisconsin Daily Journal. I said, well, I always fly into town, and I'd never read the Wisconsin Daily Journal. He said, well, that one's not going to fly. So they call the case, and the judge says, what's he charged with? And they say, alternate side parking, and the judge looks at him and goes, what's that? So I got off. The next question, number 14. Todd once shared a room. I was roommates with B, Bruce Springsteen. Now, the story on this is Bruce Springsteen was born September 23rd, 1949 at Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, New Jersey. I was born September 27th, 1949 at Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, New Jersey. At the time, they kept you in the hospital for 10 days. So Bruce and I were roommates. There are rumors we were switched at birth. The score of Todd's one-on-one game with Wilt Chamberlain was Wilt wins 10-3. I thought he cheated, but he pulled it off. Number 16, the most Todd has ever bench pressed, C, 375 pounds. And that brings us to 17. My body weight at the time of that was C, 118 pounds. How long did Todd hold the record in his weight class for the bench press? That was 3.5 hours. And the story for that, I was at a powerlifting meet in Madison, and we had a fraternity party that night. You had to do 3 lifts, bench press, deadlift, and squat. So I set the record in the bench press, but it was taking forever. There were like hundreds of lifters there. And I said, I got to go. I got a party. Oh, if you go, you'll lose your record. I lost my record. Then number 19, what was my fastest time in the 50-yard freestyle swim? That would be D, 26.5 seconds. And my most lucrative job in Madison was E, term paper writer. I wrote term papers for money. So does anybody have a perfect score? Anybody with 19 answers? Anybody with 18 correct answers? 14. 13. What? Well, count. Kip never changes. All right, Kip wins by default. Bottle of wine.
Great job, Todd. All right. How many Badgers in the house tonight? How many Badgers in the house tonight? All right. Cool. Well, now it's time for anyone here who wants to have a tribute to Todd Say speak.
I've probably known Todd longer than anybody in the room except the relatives and my brother Tom. I'm not going to tell any long stories, and I'm not going to tell the story about how Todd sold tickets, and I took all the for the senior play, and I took all the credit for it and won the prize. And I'm not going to tell the story about at O'Hare Airport when I almost got arrested because Todd's practice of hitchhiking on commercial airlines. I'm not going to tell that story. But no, it's too long. It's way too long. But what I do want to say is, Todd is a friend. He's been a friend, and it's pretty obvious with all the friends he has here tonight. He's so generous to all his friends, and I want to say, Todd, happy birthday. You're the guy.
Okay, hi everybody. I always think it's very interesting that the stories that you tell about how you first met somebody. So I'm going to tell you how I first met Todd. I was a courtroom clerk to Judge Ward back in something like 1998, 1997, a long, long time ago. And Todd, in the courtroom, we weren't in session, but it was still a courtroom, he comes strolling up to me in his little, he was dressed as nicely dressed in a suit and tie, but it was a Mickey Mouse tie. That was the first clue. And then he goes, "So, what's your name?" I go, "Kathy." He goes, "Oh, Kathy." He started singing Kathy's Clown. He loves the 60s music in open court. And, there were people out there. And I'm like, okay, who is this? And I put the smile on my face, my professional smile. I go, who is this weirdo? In my mind. And then next thing we know, he is, an attorney in open court, and he did whatever he did like attorneys do. I'm like, oh wow, he's really a professional. Well, anyway, that was my first impression of Todd Rothbard. Secondly, I will say, when I was working, I worked for a judge called Judge Ward. Judge Ward went to Harvard Law School, so he was a very smart man. And it was his way or no way. He was one of those kind of guys. So when we started doing Todd's calendar, which is called the UD, Unlawful Detainers or Eviction, whatever you want to call it, my judge was brand new. He didn't know exactly what the ins and outs were. Somehow he perceived that this man was the expert on unlawful detainers, so he invited him into his chambers and talked to him and got the skinny on exactly what to do. And I'm like, wow, if my judge, who I think is very intelligent, thought to bring in an attorney like Todd to get his viewpoint, that really impressed me. So those are my two only big impressions of Todd. And then it's gotten better since then, because we're talking a long time. So anyway, happy birthday, Todd. We all love you, and thank you for inviting us.
I'd just like to say something. I was a caregiver of his mother for 5 years, and Todd was the most adored child of Toby, and she just couldn't get enough of him, and every day she told me how much she loved Toddy. And she loved Pamster too. So she was so grateful that Pamster came into his life, and I was so grateful to be a part of all of it, and I love both of them very much. And thank you for inviting me here tonight. I love you.
Where is Todd? Is he hiding? Todd, where is he? He hates praise. He totally hates praise, but you deserve it.
Let me say one more thing.
Sure? You sure?
I had like 6 shots, but Toddy, your mother told me how well endowed you are.
Woo! Alrighty then. There are going to be so many stories told tonight. I doubt we're going to hear that again.
Well, I certainly don't have anything that can top that, but I've known Todd since junior high school, and we were kind of partners in crime, and we would do things like walk on our bikes through Woolworths in Westfield, and I live down the street down in the south side of town, and you could see Todd in the summertime when Todd would do his walking around town all the time, and we could see him at the top of the street, and we were all outside playing like Foursquare and doing stuff out in the street, and someone would say, "Here comes Todd," and he's walking down the street, and we could see him doing his walk like this, and everybody was looking forward to seeing Todd because, it was just fun to see him and have him come around, and I used to go visit Todd at his house in junior high school and high school, and one day Todd brought a bowl full of white grapes into the room, and so I'm sure he started. I know it wasn't me, but he picked one up and threw it. So from then on, it was a white grape fight throughout the house, and I'm sure his mother and Mindy, didn't think the best of us, but we just kind of egged each other on, and it was fun the whole time. And I don't want to get emotional, but somebody gets in trouble or something happens, and Todd's the first one that comes to somebody. He's always there for you.
Yeah, I go back knowing Todd from ninth grade. I lived in South Africa when I was for 2 years in 7th and 8th grade. I came back, I was in ninth grade English class, Mrs. Forbes' class, and I sat next to this guy, Todd. And people told me that Todd was a guy who gave gave commercials in the middle of his book reports. And I'm going, man, this is my type of guy, particularly I later became a professional yo-yo player. So it's like, yeah, this is my type of guy. So, Todd and I have, ended up going through high school and college together. I've been great friends through the years. As I think you all know, the one thing I find about Todd is he's someone who truly values friendship. Is probably his greatest asset. It's one of those things that I really admire him for. It's one of those things that I think we all should, try to adhere to a little bit more. So, thank you, Todd, for being a great example.
The first time I met Todd, I remember very distinctly. It was in an 8th grade class, and I walked up to him and I said, "So you're the new kid who just moved into town?" He said to me something to the effect, "Cameraman, I've heard about you, something about brawn and brains." I don't remember exactly what he said. But I remember thinking afterwards, wait a minute, that wasn't exactly a compliment. I'm not sure exactly what he meant by that. But it reminded me of something my father used to say. He used to have a knack of left-handed compliments that left people wondering what he said. I said, "This is a guy I gotta make my friend, because he's obviously a lot smarter than I am." And one of the great joys of my life has been Todd's relationship with my parents and my relationship with Abe and Toby. And I will always be grateful for that, and I will always be grateful that Abe moved to Westfield in 8th grade. Thank you.
1971, Todd, you with me? I graduated from college, and both my grandfathers were there, and they were both 70 years old. And it was interesting because something like that. And so, this is what 70 looks like.
All these are hard to top. You know, a couple weeks ago, the NPR reporter that many of us listened to and knew, she was also with ABC News, Cokie Roberts, died. And the following weekend, I was listening to Scott Simon on Morning Edition on NPR, and he had a great line about Cokie Roberts. He said, "She had a genius in friendship." And the same can be said about Todd. Todd has a genius in friendship. And all of us know that, and all of us are aware of it, and it's something I greatly admire about Todd. But something I often talk about when I talk about Todd, that I admire as much, if not more, is Todd's toughness. Now, in my younger days, I was an athlete. I have a lot of friends who are athletes on all levels, high school, college, professional. And so I'm the kind of guy that admires athletes and the toughness that goes with what athletes do, and as a trial lawyer, the toughness that people like Todd and I have to display. But when I talk about Todd to people, the one thing that I often tell about Todd, which is not evident when you look at Todd and you love Todd and you know Todd, is his toughness. I mean, the story that haunts me, that I'll never forget, one of the greatest displays of toughness that I've ever witnessed in my life was watching Todd eulogize his daughter. I have never seen personal toughness and strength than what Todd displayed. And I'm proud to tell that story to other friends of mine when I tell them about Todd and the kind of man he is. And I know that's a tough note, but I'm trying to be complimentary, and I hope you take it in the way that I do. You have a genius for friendship, and you've touched so many of us, and it's just great to be among those that you've touched.
Well, first of all, thank you all for coming here tonight. It's great to see you all. I want to give special thanks to my sister, Mindy, to my soulmate, the Pamster, for doing a fabulous job putting this all together. And I know it was no shortage of work. And you've done a wonderful, wonderful job, both of you. You know, this room has a lot of history for my family. We did my father's 90th birthday here, my mother's 95th birthday here, my parents' 70th wedding anniversary here. And after my Uncle Bernie, my mother, and my father passed away, we did the reception for each of their unveiling here. So I really want to thank all these wonderful people who work for Joe's. I mean, just... Steve McCoy, after my mom's unveiling, came to me and said it was the best meal he'd ever had in his life. And I might hear a little more of that tonight. So they just do a wonderful job. I am so blessed in my life to have so many wonderful, wonderful friends. And if I have any talent in life, I think it's bringing good people together and maintaining the loyalty of my friends, my family. You know, what's more important in life, really, than the people that you know and you love and them coming together? I'm so grateful to see you all here tonight. It just means more to me than I can tell you. So on that note, we are going to go into the next phase of this evening's celebration. We're going to have a little bit of karaoke. I am going to kick it off with a song from Les Miserables called I Dreamed a Dream. And then I've invited my friend Christian from Hawaii, who I gave singing lessons to for many years, to also come and sing this song. Then I'm going to ask you all to vote on who does it better. And I don't want to think there's, I don't want there to be any quid pro quo. In fact, I called the president of Ukraine this morning. And I asked him if he would do me a favor and tell people that anyone who doesn't vote for me has to pay for their own dinner tonight. It's funny. Before I'm about to start my career as a professional singer, I've decided to take up a career as a stand-up comedian. My friends laughed at me when I said I was going to be a stand-up comedian. Well, no one's laughing now. And I'm... voices were soft and their words inviting. There was a time when love was blind and the world was a song and the song was exciting. There was a time when it all went wrong. When hope was high and life worth living, I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving. Then I was young and unafraid, and dreams were made and used and wasted. There was no ransom to be paid, no song unsung, no wine untasted. But the tigers come at night with their voices soft as thunder, as they tear your hope apart, and they turn your dream to shame. She slept a summer by my side. She filled my days with endless wonder. She took my childhood in her stride, but she was gone when autumn came. And still I dream she'll come to me, that we will live the years together. But there are dreams that cannot be, and there are storms we cannot weather. I had a dream my life would be There will be backstage passes for all of you. Christian, you ready?
There was a time when men were kind, when their voices were soft and their words inviting. There was a time when love was blind and the world was a song and the song was exciting. There was a time, then it all went wrong. I dreamed a dream in time gone by, when hope was high and life worth living. I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving. Then I was young and unafraid, and dreams were made and used and wasted. There was no ransom to be paid, no song unsung, no wine untasted. But the tigers come at night, their voices soft as thunder, as they tear your hope apart, as they turn your dream to shame. He slept a summer by my side. He filled my days with endless wonder. He took my childhood in his stride, but he was gone when autumn came. And still I dreamed he'd come to me, that we will live the years together. But there are dreams that cannot be, and there are storms we cannot weather.
Okay, guys. Now we have the vote. Okay. By a show of hands, how many people think I did that better? And how many people are voting for my friend Christian? I'm just gonna have to keep practicing. Thank you, Christian. Okay, any other volunteers for karaoke? I know Christian's an easy act to follow. Let the DJ here know what you would like to sing, and be bold. We want to hear from you. Who's next?
Hi. Testing. I got to play tennis with Todd today. I've only known him about a year and a half. What an experience. It was wonderful, and with one of the great people of Bally's who helped take care of it. This young man right here, Herb. So he's a wonderful teacher. Thanks, Herb. This is the town of Sinatra. Todd's from those days, so let's try it. And we'll strive doing That's Life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life, and as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stomping on a dream. But I don't let it get me down, 'cause this fine old world keeps spinning around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. I tell ya, I can't deny it. I thought of quitting, baby, but my heart just ain't gonna buy it. And if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd get jumped right up on a big bird and then I'd fly. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, but I know one damn thing. Each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. I can't deny it. Many times I thought of cutting out, but my heart just won't buy it. And if there's nothing shaking this come here July, well, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball, and my, thank you, Todd, happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Very good. Thank you.
When I walk through that door, baby, be polite. You're gonna make me sore if you don't treat me right. Don't you ever kiss me once, kiss me twice. I treat me nice. I know that you've been told it's not fair to tease. So if you're gonna be cold, I'm really gonna freeze. If you don't want me to be cold as ice, I dream it nice. Make me feel at home if you really care. Scratch my back and rub your pretty fingers through my hair. I know that you're a slave if you ask me to, but if you don't behave, I'll walk right out on you. If you want my love, then take my advice. I dream it nice. Make me feel at home if you really care. Scratch my back and run your pretty fingers through my hair. You know I'll be your slave if you ask me to, but if you don't behave, I'll walk right out on you. If you want my love, you take my advice. I dream it nice. I dream it nice. If you really wanna love me, treat me nice.
Hello, Elvis. Thank you.
I'm going to do a Cole Porter song. Nelson Riddle's orchestra behind me. I've got you under my skin. I have got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair never will go so well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know so well that I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that calls in the night and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you never can win. Use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin. 'Cause I've got you under my skin. I would sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near. In spite of a warning voice, comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you never can win. Why not use your mentality? Step up, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin. 'Cause I've got you under my skin. Yes, I've got you under my skin.
I have the Toddettes here as backup. We're going to do That'll Be the Day by Buddy Holly. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. Say you're gonna leave, you know it's a lie. 'Cause that'll be the day when I die. When Cupid shot his dart, he shot it at your heart. So if we ever part and I leave you, you say you hold me and you tickle me more. That's someday, well, I'll be true. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave, you know it's a lie. Oh, that'll be the day that I die. When you make me cry, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. You say you're gonna leave, you know it's a lie. 'Cause that'll be the day that I die. You say you love me, baby, say you tell me, baby, that someday, well, I'll be true. Hey, Cupid shot his dart, he shot it at your heart. So if we ever part and I leave you, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave, you know it's a lie. 'Cause that'll be the day when I die. Ooh, that'll be the day. Ooh, that'll be the day. Ooh, that'll be the day when I die. Next. No, not Coward. Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey.
Every day it's getting faster, going.
Said go and ask her, love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Every day seems a little longer. Every way love's a little stronger. Come what may, do you ever long for true love from me? Every day it's getting closer, going faster than roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Seems a little longer every way. Love's a little stronger. Come what may, do you ever long for true love from me? It's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, love like yours will surely come my way. If we don't get some people to come up here and sing, I'm going to keep singing. So I'm warning you, get up here.
Oh, someday, when I'm awfully low and the world is cold, yeah, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Oh, yes, your lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you and the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. She's my foolish heart. Lovely, never ever changes. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you and the way you look tonight. Touches my foolish heart. Lovely, I don't know the rest of the words here. Never ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love and the way you look tonight. Just the way you
Well, today I started loving you again. And I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you just long enough to let my heartache mend. But today I started loving you again. What a fool I was to think I could find with only these few million tears I've cried. And I should have known the worst was yet to come. And the crying time for me had just begun. But today I started loving you again. And I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you just long enough to let my heartache bend. Then today I started loving you again. Thank you, thank you.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And bittersweet memories, that is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye, please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. Life treats you kind, and I hope you have all, yeah, she says goodbye, dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my